Ian Jackson, number 3 on our list, North Carolina transfer. It seemed like all the smoke was pointing towards St. John's when he decided to get in the portal. It came down to St. John's in North Carolina when he committed to the Tar Heels, but he has yet to commit. What do you know about Ian Jackson, Jeff?
St. John's is still the front runner here. And again, the key here is trying to fill out the roster, trying to figure this thing out. Obviously, they got a shooter today. They're trying to get a point guard, and that'll lead us to probably our next guy we're going to talk about here in Xavier Lee. But I think that's the priority right now for Rick Pitino and the Johnnies. It's getting that point guard situation locked up, because if you get that, your starting lineup, again, is friggin' loaded. I mean, absolutely loaded. And it's not just loaded, Rob. It fits. The pieces fit together. And, oh, by the way, you'd have a team with talent where the pieces fit, and you finally have shooters and athletes, which 2 years ago he didn't have athletes. Last year he didn't have shooters, and coached by arguably the best coach in the sport right now in Rick Pitino, who's, 72 years old. It would be unbelievable. If they got Ian Jackson, my take on that, if they get him, he's obviously fighting Sellers and maybe Sannon, but more Sellers, I think, to who's going to start. Ian Jackson would have to, beat out Sellers. And I think, honestly, Sellers is more important to them because they need shooters. Ian Jackson would be great as your kind of sixth man coming off the bench. I just don't know if that's what they would want in this situation. So I think Ian Jackson is close to pulling the trigger on the Johnnies. Just, kind of at this point, it's kind of a waiting game on whether or not maybe the numbers are there for him and just the fit on both sides.
Yeah, that Ozias Sellers commitment is one that kind of made me raise my eyebrows a little bit, because you still have Simeon Wilcher back. You have you got the Santa kid who's already committed. You have Bryce Hopkins. All of a sudden, there's a lot of bodies in that 2 through 4 spot, and that's to say nothing of Ruben Prey, who's coming back to the program as well. So the priority's got to be point guard, which is, it sounds like, Xavier Lee. We might as well get to him here. He's number 5 on our list. He took a visit to. He took a visit to Kansas. He just got back today from a visit to Florida. He's visited St. John's, and it feels like it's down to those 3. Correct me if I'm wrong, Goodman. What do you have on Xavier Lee?
Yeah, my sources say that it's probably a 2-horse race here. I think Kansas is in 3rd place right now. It's between St. John's and Florida. And if I'm a betting man, Rob, which I'm not a betting – well, I am, but – just, in certain things. I actually won a little bit of money on the Masters, believe it or not. If I'm a betting man, I think Xavier Lee ends up in Gainesville with the defending national champion Florida Gators. I really do. I think they have the best shot for him right now. I think this is going to be done in the next day or so. So I think, again, that would be huge for Florida, because – Florida is still – their front court should be in pretty good shape. Alex Condon obviously is going to test the draft waters. If I'm him, of course he should come back. His stock couldn't have been lower in the NCAA tournament. He was so good through most of the regular season. But, man, it's hard to get that taste out of your mouth if you're an NBA guy watching him in the NCAA tournament, because he was bad in almost every game. So Alex Condon comes back. Thomas Houck comes back. Micah Hanlogton comes back. Their front court, I don't know how they're going to fit, because they don't have a 3 there. They don't really have a 3-man there. They're going to have to figure that part out. But, to me, if you can add Xavier Lee to that, and you got Aberdeen coming back, they'll add one more guard probably to that, or one more wing if they can. I think then you got to –
they have to get another wing. They got to get another wing, right?
Yeah,
you're probably – I think right now you're 3 perimeter players short if you're Florida. Because the Clavstar kid can eat up some minutes, and you still got that what's his name? Don't they have a couple of freshmen signed who I think could probably eat up some minutes as well? Yep. But I think you need Xavier Lee would be a big one because of how good he is. Finding a way to get another wing on the roster just to be able to have that 3 guy, even if it's just a floor spacer, it wouldn't matter. And then
we got Chinyello back. Big Ruben's back too. I mean, their front court is friggin' loaded.
Yeah. One of my hot takes is that Thomas Hawk is going to end up being an All-American next year. I think he's the guy that takes the real leap next season because of his shooting ability. Yeah. Yeah, like that. That's a good take, right?
Well, yeah, I don't know how because of the minutes. I don't know how he's going to put up like crazy numbers because there's too many mouths to feed on that front line.
I think he ends up winning out a lot of the minutes at the 4 and plays like 25, 28 minutes a game. And it ends up being one of Handlogden or Ruben Chinyelu who sees his their minutes cut at the 5 spot. Because I think that Condon is more of a 5/4. Chinielo's a 5. Handlogden's a 5. So I think that what happens is you see a lot more Condon Hawk lineups put together there. So Xavier Lee at Florida would be a lot of fun. All I'm saying, if there's anybody from the Florida staff paying attention, the only thing that I'm saying is that the last time we had a point guard picking between St. John's and Florida commit on the field of 68, not only did he pick Florida, but within 2 years, he was a first-team All-American, and he won a national title. That's all I'm saying, Jeff. That's all I'm saying. Maybe, just maybe.
Hey, if